Hey everyone, it's Richard Payne here from Halifax Homes and Lifestyles, Keller Williams Select Realty, and we are out in the gorgeous spring weather we have here in Fall River because we are about to do this little inspection here, which is going to be a septic field inspection with, of course, the genius that is Derek Hale from the Septic Doctors. And we wanted to give you just a little bit of an insight as to what we do and why we actually do the septic inspections, because when you're living in an area like Fall River, Hammonds Plains, Upper Tantall and Timberley, a lot of those houses in particular will have drilled wells and they will have septic fields. So you need to know how that septic field is actually performing. Is it doing the right thing? How old is it? How big is it? What are these little green caps called and why do you have them? So we're going to go through the whole process now, but in essence the reason that we have these little two caps there is because that is where everything is going. Now the first chamber, so this first cap here that's closest to the house, that chamber is where all the solids from the house go. Trying to think about it too much, it's nothing that difficult. But then once they've gone through the first chamber, they go into that second chamber. And then the second chamber is designed for all of the grey water. Then the grey water goes to all of this area here, which is the actual septic field. And it goes through a 4-inch pipe, and through that 4-inch pipe there are holes, and there is gravel and sand and textile fabric and a whole range of stuff. So that stuff just basically sinks to the bottom and then it disappears out to the field, goes through all that stuff, and then basically it's all nice and clean. But the key reason you want to do this is because if anything goes wrong with this septic field, and there's quite a few things, so there is a pipe that goes from the house to these lids, to the tanks, and that can sag. So now you've got to actually dig down, dig up that pipe. You do not want to sag in that pipe, because if there is a sag in that pipe, what can happen is, think of it like an artery where it starts getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Well, it blocks up. And guess what happens when the septic system blocks up? Everything comes this way towards the house, and that's not usually a good thing for you. So that's the reason you want to check that first of all. Then you want to check the inside of the tank. Make sure that all the concrete is nice and good. Make sure that it looks all fine and everything's working properly. Then you get this wonderful little thing down there, which is the yellow thing called a septic video line, and you go out to the field. And then you get to see all the good stuff, and you get to make sure that it's draining properly, and if everything's good, you basically pay Derek the bill and everything is fine and there is no issues. But you do have to make sure that you're maintaining this thing. Every 3 to 5 years-ish, you need to get the solid chamber pumped. That's always a fun day when you actually crack the lid and someone comes in with a giant vacuum and sucks it out, so to speak. So that's always a good day. But you also want to make sure that you've got a little filter on the grey water side going out, because that'll stop anything that is too small and could block up the holes in that septic field pipe so that they do not go out to the field. Again, every year you got to lift that hatch, pull that filter out, give it a hose down and put it back in. Now one of the other sides is, what if we're on a city lot? What if we have city sewer system? And that's one of the things that we're starting to see now, is there is a danger of those pipes in the city actually getting old, being collapsed, being cracked, delaminating, and doing the same thing where they're starting to basically restrict the flow of sewage out. So it's not always the way, but it's a smart move to make sure that you're actually finding the septic access for that and actually scoping the sewer lateral out to the city line to make sure that you're not going to end up problems, because these sewage systems are not cheap. They do need a little bit of maintenance, and if there's something wrong, then when you're buying the house, you want to make sure that you understand that, because somebody somewhere is going to have to pay for that. So that's the lowdown on septics, covering not only septic fields. There you go, hatches are open, it's gonna get fun now, but also then looking at what's going on in the city, because it's getting to that point where you really need, depending on the age of the house, to start looking at city sewer laterals and making sure you scope those well. So any questions, just let me know. It's richard@richardpayne.ca, 902-489-1804, and let's get on with some septic fun. Derek, say hello.
Hi everybody.
There you go, that's Derek. Crazy but good. That's what we like in our world. All right, chat soon.